Hello, hello.
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 Hope you're doing well.
Yes, same to everyone.
Yeah. Who would like to go first? I
I
can
can
go
go
first.
first.
Okay, then.
Um,
All right.
okay, you can go first.
Okay. All right, then. I'll go first. Share my screen. Okay. I don't know if I share the wrong screen. Great. I love that when that happens. Okay. Sorry for the delay. I'm gonna put the timer. 2. Okay. So this past week, I've been working, contributing perhaps on promoting the events mainly, as well as some other, I'd say, work on improving the respect game article and kind of thinking about ways to present the respect game in a better way, as well as some other tasks. So I drafted the promotional post and posted it in Farcaster and all these groups here, as well as Based and DAOs. Some of those groups I reached out for the first time in a while, and also the Green Pill one too. So I also created this image to represent the respect game. Then I made a discourse post too, which you can find in the Optimism discourse. Again, this is providing a bit of a recap from, I think, 2 weeks ago, showing the video there, as well as the Optimism Town Hall, the topics, and pitching the respect game and inviting people to the event. I made this image to represent the different topics that we can choose from to do for the Optimism Town Hall. Apart from this, myself and Dan, we've been brainstorming on ways to start to separate the Optimism Town Hall with the Optimism Fractal, and in a way separate them in by promoting them a separate event more so that way it will bring more attention to each one of them. So for example, the promotions for the Optimism Fractal, we can more so focus it and target it towards the respect game. That's why I've been thinking more so about creating imagery about the respect game and so forth that I'll show in a bit. And then for the town hall, to have a separate promotional image and message. But yeah, we've been brainstorming on things to do that, and maybe from next season we can start to do that. I shared the promotional message also in my Twitter. I shared a kind of a recent one, also linking to the forum post, as well as kind of retweeted the ones that were shared from the Optimistics account. I edited the video from last week. It's not published yet. I'm due to work on the title and the description. I was brainstorming with Dan on these topics, like which ones would be good for him to propose. I made slight updates to the respect game article and provided some kind of like recommendations on things to improve, like the tools page was leading to another like a copy of a tools page and so forth. So I also did a custom GPT for the respect game. I fed it with some information about the respect game, as well as some pages that it can browse through. And so that way it can help me with promoting the respect game and so forth. So I've been using it. I also promoted the message in Discord as well as in the base Discord, multiple channels, like 3 or 4 channels. I haven't had any feedback that I'm spamming them yet, so I think it's all good for now. I'm just joking. And then also in Notion, I worked on some other respect game images from using the Midjourney, as well as I sorted out the respect game kind of promotional blurbs into this database. All the ways that the respect game provides value and kind of having that into 1-2 sentences when promoting the respect game, I think is useful. So I use the custom GPT for that too. And also I've been adding more people to the optimistic CRM, and now it has 265 people. That's also useful for when we decide to reach out. So that's my contributions. I went 1 minute over time, so I suppose I adjust the time to 5 minutes, so everyone can have 5 minutes to go, since we're less than 6. So if that sounds good for you all. Who would like to go next?
Okay, I can go now.
Okay. I'll start with you.
Yeah, so last couple of weeks I was taking a break a bit, and I tried to come back to work last week, but then I got sick, and yeah, so I'm starting again this week, and yeah, I'm continuing work on the candidate for next version of a Fractal app, specifically the app through which we submit consensus. The biggest contribution here is that the biggest feature, I guess, in this new version is that the respect distribution would be automated. Well, I call it semi-automated because you still will need to trigger the distribution, but the distribution would be determined automatic. I can share later links in the chat, but I already shared them in Discord and elsewhere. Yeah, so this week specifically, I'm working on token API for respect tokens. So this would be the API through which token metadata could be retrieved. This is needed for respect to show up well on block explorers. It also will make it easier to burn respect tokens in case we need to correct any mistakes, for example, because it will allow to retrieve all tokens of all respect entities of a specific account, or by respect entities. I also call them respect awards. So you would see all the. You would be able to retrieve all the respect awards. So one respect award being one respect token from one meeting, yeah, which might be useful to see all the times you earned respect. Yes, and other than that, I've been distributing respect, catching up with the new meetings in terms of distributing respect. And I also commented in Dan's document about upcoming schedule for Optimism Fractal and Eden Fractal, made some suggestions there. Yes, and that's about all. Also, I've been with regards to the app, I'm also improving the way proposals, in case proposed transaction fails, I'm improving the way I'm enabling to receive information about why it failed. So another key piece that will make it easier to use that in the future. Not sure if I was clear, but feel free to ask questions if you need more details or want more details. So that's all for me now. And who wants to go next?
Thank you.
I'll go. All right. Let me share my screen here. Okay. Are you guys seeing some colorful type?
Yes.
Okay. So I've continued working on the Fractalgram app, trying to make sure that I have the data tables accurately modeling what the process actually is. And so I ended up, there's a database that lives in the background of that. So that's Postgres, which I'm not as familiar with. I've done MySQL and MS SQL, but I haven't done Postgres in the past. So I'm researching some of the differences there. It's not really that significant, but the syntax is just different. So I got this cool query tool, and that allows me to look at things like like look at all the users in the database. So very basic SQL stuff. And then like we're getting complicated here. So what I'm trying to do is we've got a consensus session. So that's going to happen every time we start a meeting. And then the consensus groups are the breakout groups. The group members will be the individual voters. The votes are stored here, and then the final consensus statuses that are agreed on. So what I did is I tried to list out all the different use cases that I can think of that will be required to play the game. And I'm trying to go through those and just make sure the database is designed okay first up. That way I can kind of avoid building something and then having to transform the database after I build the application. So the next step, I've also been kind of researching this technology called Drizzle, which is an object relational model. It's essentially a way for JavaScript/TypeScript to talk to the database. So you model the tables inside of Drizzle, and then you can use them as objects and interact with them. So that's been interesting. There's some quirks to this, but it's for the most part, it seems pretty straightforward. I'm just trying to get this whole thing working, at least in an initial sense, and then I'm going to start doing the modeling, and then I can actually build the application. So I'm excited about that. I do need to probably incorporate some of the feedback on some of the names. If it might be smart to have it like some of the field names match what are in Tatas's code. So I may try to do that yet, and then try to push forward with it. And yeah, so exciting stuff. I've worked on it a little bit on the plane. I'll probably work on it on the plane on the way back to the East Coast. So that's what I got.
Thank you, Abraham.
So wait, I missed. Could you clarify? Is this is for Fractal specifically, or is for another case that you're forking to do something else, or what?
No, this is
Sorry, I
for
missed
our
the app.
respect game. So like the
Nice.
things that we do in
Nice.
Telegram, I'm actually just building out in an application so that we can have more control over how it
Great.
works, and it's going to be available so people can fork and use it if they want to make their own Fractalgram.
Nice.
Yeah, so if I could just comment on that, Abraham is approaching Fractal F from the opposite direction as I see it. He started with develop wallet connection features, and his app will allow playing respect game fractalgram style, but it will be a separate tab for that. Whereas I'm more focusing on on-chain contracts and the actual submission process and distribution of respect.
Yeah, it
Yeah, I
sounds like
guess-
a great collaboration.
Yeah, I guess you didn't maybe get to see when I demoed the app, Hadlan. I'll see if I can spin it up quick and just show you. It's not, there's not a whole lot there yet, but it is kind of cool. You want to go next?
Yep, I'll go next. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, go ahead and start the timer, Rosemary. Okay, so been doing a lot of prep for, I'm going to this event, DWeb Camp. It's like a bunch of kind of nerdy distributed internet type of people from all different organizations coming together with the organizations. Yeah, so like these are some of the sponsors. And I'm bringing some like art installations type of stuff, but also doing some talks on distributed, so specifically I'm doing a talk on-chain governance, which is kind of like a catch-all on-chain governance. So I'm going to be talking about Macy, which is like a voting protocol that I've been contributing to. I'll be talking about Optimism Fractal. I'll be talking about HATS protocol. I'll be talking about all sorts of different stuff kind of in one, in one concept altogether. So excited for that. So prepping for that event, which is in a couple weeks, which is during our break, I believe. So that'll be nice. I'll come back from that and be able to share about it. I have been, so the Macy protocol, we're building basically kind of an interface, an RPGF. We call it Macy RPGF, but it's like an interface. This is just a screenshot of out of the Figma, but it's basically a way to run quadratic funding rounds. So it's kind of like I guess a front end, right, to Macy. And Macy, just really quick, is like anti-collusion voting. It's a way for it's a voting protocol that basically allows you to vote, allows people to vote, and then it is not possible to like prove to anybody who you voted for. So that's the anti-collusion kind of component of it. So it's pretty heavy duty as far as like use cases for it. And we've just kind of been exploring different ways to get it out there. This is one of them. So been contributing to this, to running rounds, been supporting, there's like ETH Mexico, ETH Tegucigalpa, Cryptoversidad, these different communities that are using the current version of Macy RPGF to run rounds in their community, quadratic funding rounds in their community. Those are going on right now. This is just a screenshot of a public nouns discussion. Somebody put a vote up and it didn't pass. And so there was kind of a discussion around that in the public nouns Discord. So this is the so HATS protocol has been developing a Farcaster frame, which will allow anybody wearing the caster hat, so the hat that allows you to cast things directly in the Warpcast app. And so this is something I've been like my role there is going to be like using that to post memes and post stuff like that. This was just somebody else did kind of a testing thing with that frame. But I'm looking forward to using that and helping kind of QA this new way of casting using hats, kind of dog fooding in a way. Okay, I also came up with, this is a rough draft of an issue I've been running into in Farcaster for a while now, where I need to transfer my FID. And I finally just kind of sat down and used some AI to help me come up with the steps and like a script to just do it manually. So yeah, that's what this is for. So I'm hoping to implement this. What I want to do is like to do it and then do like a blog post explaining how I did it, which is, this is my current website. I want to redo this website and update it. This is just hosted on GitHub pages. So I want to I'm going to update it to be hosted on IPFS. So I'm going to be using like WordPress and IPFS, which would also be a topic of another blog. But yeah, this is just kind of outdated and I want to kind of redo the whole thing. And then I'm doing a key rotation, 5 more seconds. I'm doing a key rotation. So I recently got my .eth and did a key rotation. This is my new on-chain address. Yeah, thank you. This is my new on-chain address. And so for security, for a lot of reasons, but security, I've moved over to this address, transferring assets over, and going through all of that. And I'm going to need to transfer my respect tokens at some point. So maybe I'll post in the Discord and we'll figure out how to do that. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Thanks everyone. I'm setting up the fractogram. Feel free to ask any questions in the meantime. Well, I have a question. I have questions. For Kotlin, for the start, but the Macy protocol, I'm interested sort of what exactly did you do for it, or what's the connection with Macy, except for the use cases that you outlined that were very beneficial.
Like what are my contributions?
Yes.
So specifically so we're working with the 3 different communities and I'm kind of acting as a bridge, I guess, between the like development team and these communities to kind of help support the communities for like getting the round running. It's still the way Macy is like the code is still very like there needs to be a lot of time put into like deploying around and running it. It's not like a one-click solution. So there's a lot of like hand-holding and support and answering questions and digging into code and doing stuff like that, which is what I don't do, but I'm kind of like the in-between person. I like took over from somebody else doing that. And then I'm helping these communities kind of do that. And then we're also doing, been giving a lot of like feedback on design. Like we're doing designs for like the next several iterations and getting feedback, implementing that feedback, kind of redesigning the interface and stuff.
It sounds nice. And would you say, I mean, does the, for example, Cryptoversity that I've heard about them and Diego was leading it?
Yeah.
Do you think it's possible, for example, if they're using an optimism, let's say retro PGF grant, to use that for quadratic funding to their community? And I'm just thinking, do you think Optimism Fractal can possibly do that, or and does Cryptoversity has I'd say a group of developers who work on integrating the Macy's quadratic funding? And do you think this Macy quadratic funding is the I'd say easiest way to go about doing the quadratic rounds?
Okay, wait, there's a lot of questions there.
Yes.
um,
You can choose whichever one you want to answer, or maybe
So I think
combine
it's
them into one.
right. So I think it's not the easiest as far as implementation because we're still working on a bunch of like improving things. Like I said, it's not like a one-click solution. And so it actually takes like quite a bit of hours of a dev kind of deploying things. And that's something that we're working on. So like a lot of these communities that we're working with are kind of in collaboration. Like we're saying, like, we're still figuring the product out and like, we're helping you use it so you can help us improve the product. But Macy is meant for like, very, like we were talking to the Optimism Collective, about implementing it. And they actually wanted kind of a different direction in how they are doing voting. And so it didn't quite make sense, like it didn't quite fit. But Macy is a very like a Macy use case would be like voting for like national like government elections where there is like corruption, right? Or for a case like a less serious case where like distributing funds. So Retro PGF is a really good example because you have a lot of people in a community that are all kind of voting for each other to like distribute funds. And so it helps to obfuscate and it helps like keep things private so that there isn't that awkward kind of like people voting for each other and then like proving that they did or didn't. It just makes it really clear, you know, because it's all private. You can't like prove who you voted for or how you voted. So it's more for like heavy duty use cases at this point, and like we're working to make it as easy as possible to implement, to do like a QF round. But as far as what were you thinking as far as like Optimism Fractal, like how Optimism Fractal might be? So you were asking about Optimism Fractal in relation to Macy, but I'm curious what you were thinking.
I don't exactly have an idea that is sort of formed to the extent that it's a solid idea that I'm sure about. Maybe I first have to look into the use cases for quadratic voting in a community, and then try to connect it.
Yeah.
But I know that the vote, but I'm thinking about quadratic rounds and like I'm connecting it with Gitcoin, because I do that.
Yeah.
And they, I like the quadratic voting as a mechanism to distribute rewards.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that in connection with mission requests, for example, for Optimism, Dan will talk about it, but he just proposed a mission request, and actually the deadline to vote for whichever mission request gets approved is in 1 hour. In one is in 20 minutes, and for the other, depending on the intent, is in 1 hour. But one of them got approved, and it was for I think supporting on-chain builders through gamings, and sort of initiate those. I suppose like how to award participants in the community, and that one got approved. So there's a way to now for people in Optimism to apply in the upcoming weeks to accomplish this mission request. But I'm thinking, for example, if there is a way to get funding from that can be distributed to Optimism Fractal participants, then I was thinking if quadratic voting would then be like an option to consider. But I don't have a firm, more of a firm idea on this. I'm just thinking about.
Yeah.
I do often bring up things like that to Dan, and we discuss you know, like we always come about like we always do a kind of a brainstorming session after these events, and let's say what have I learned from my breakout room and so forth. And yeah, I bring up ideas like that, and then he's like more knowledgeable about stuff in general about the space, but I have like a lot of ideas, and yeah, it's more so like something to ask him what he thinks about that. Yeah, also curious to hear you guys, your opinion, if you have any experience with this. Or ask any questions, really, because I kind of took the stage here. Sorry. And I'll put my account here in the fractogram too.
I think it's interesting to explore actually just using quadratic voting in general in optimism fractal. I have some like thoughts around that. And Rosemary, I'm happy to like discuss some of the thoughts that you're having as well. Are interesting, and like I'm happy to kind of like discuss those ideas and stuff with you too, because I think there's some good ideas in there. But the idea of like quadratic voting with how we have the respect tokens, I think would be interesting to explore. So you could basically, it would basically change. So if there was a proposal and like one person with a whole bunch of tokens voted one way, and then everybody else, so multiple people, but with smaller amounts, voted the other way. And the person with more tokens technically, you know, voted, they have 1,000 tokens, and then the you know, all of the tokens of everybody else was like 900. The way quadratic voting would weight, actually, it would say, well, there's more people that are interested in it. So even though they don't have more tokens, right, that's kind of the math behind the thing. It kind of evens it out in that way. So it places a curve on like one person with a whole bunch of money, a whole bunch of voting power. You know, it puts a curve on that versus like a whole bunch of different people that actually, you know, are voting the other way, but have like less you know, respect tokens or whatever. But
That's great. Thanks for explaining. Makes sense.
Yeah.
I just put my account in fractogram, and I'll do the polling for level 6. I always have a hard time.
we're waiting for you, Rosemary.
Yes. I don't know what to vote for.
Oh yeah, it's hard.
Okay. We have 2 votes for Hodlon, 1 vote for Abraham, and 1 vote for Rosemary. Would anybody like to switch their vote or advocate for whoever they voted for?
I mean,
Now
I
we have-
personally think Hodlon is really killing it with giving talks at a, you know, at a significant event, and you know, all the work with Macy. It's not terribly easy to coordinate requests and developers to access them. So I don't know. That it seemed like there's a lot going on in his world that could really impact the community.
Yeah, same kind of thinking from my side.
Okay, well, I'm convinced. I changed my vote to Hodlon. He's doing
Thanks.
amazing work.
I also remember whatever the last round was, Hadlan got shortchanged the last round I was in. So I was like, he's got to get it this time.
Our community log right here. Okay, so we have level 6 for Hadlan. Congrats. Now level 5. And we have a consensus for Abraham for level 5. Congrats. And level 4. Thank you. We have consensus for me. And I will now do the consensus results.
Oh, that was a quick one.
Yes. But it was very difficult for me. It's always difficult.
Surprising with an even number of people too.
Yeah. I also let them know that we're ready to go back to the main room too. If you guys, we can actually go to the main room, and then when they're ready, they'll just come there. Whenever they finish.
Are we in season 2 of Fractal?
It's
Options in
season
Fractal?
3.
Okay, my vote's in.
Today, it's season 3 now.
Yes. And this is the second to last event. The last one is next week. I just approved a proposal for the next season. I can, if you want, give you the link too. If you want to read more.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to post it?
Okay. Also to that, share the link in GitHub. So that's if you want to talk a bit more about the link or share your screen, also feel free to.
Oh, great.
And did you guys manage to submit it on chain? Yes. Did I ask yes? Yes, thank you. I'll do that too. And thank you. See you in the main room.